Hello, everyone, and thank you for connecting with us again on another episode of Beauty Not Boundaries. I am your host, Felice. Beauty Not Boundaries is where everyday women navigating real life come together to share our authentic experiences without boundaries. We do this in hopes of inspiring each other and helping each other grow. So welcome. Please be sure to follow us on IG at Beauty Not Boundaries. Today, we are going to get honest about what it takes to be a transformational leader and successful entrepreneur. Many of us are leaders within our organizations and or aspire to take our skills and abilities and apply them to building our own empire instead of building somebody else's. Well, today we are joined by a very special guest who has done just that. Our guest is Ms. Carolyn Hardy. With a background in finance, operations, and human resources, Ms. Hardy is a successful entrepreneur and visionary and leader. She is a model for working hard, taking risks, investing in the right people and opportunities, and getting it right. Her amazing journey to become a successful entrepreneur started in about 2001 when she was an employee at the Coors Brewing Company bottling factory in Memphis, Tennessee. She went from being their general manager and vice president to owning the plant and running her own business, Hardy Bottling Company, which provided jobs in her community and employed more than 200 individuals. Within about 5 years, Ms. Hardy saw a healthy return on her investment when she sold Hardy Bottling Company for roughly $30 million. Not resting on that success alone, Ms. Hardy went on to start her own transloading business, Henderson Worldwide Investments, which has attracted the largest grain companies outside of Memphis to source grains in Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, and parts of Missouri. Ms. Hardy is also working on several other business ventures with no end in sight. In addition to serving on many boards and being a pillar in her community, Ms. Hardy is a founding member of Philanthropic Black Women, whose mission it is to support women and girls programs targeted toward self-sufficiency. Ms. Hardy has operated by a few keys to success. We are looking forward to hearing about her journey and hope that she will share some of those keys with us today. So thank you, Ms. Hardy, for joining us.
Thank you, Felice. Thank you for having me. I am so excited about being on your show. I expect to have lots of fun, and I love sharing. I really want to see Black and brown women and men take over the world, and they can.
We absolutely can. And I was telling you before we started recording that, you have become like an instant hero of mine. And it's not really about the money, she sold her company for $30 million. It's everything that you did in the process getting to that point.
Right.
It's a journey, and it's so inspirational. So let's just dive right in. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, beyond that very beautiful bio that I just read off, and your background prior to working at Coors Bottling Company?
Well, Felice, let me tell you something. My background, first I'll start, I'm not going to go all the way back. I am the seventh of 16 children. And when you have that many children in the house, it is very competitive. I'm talking about, we played competitive baseball in front of the house. So every day we would line up in front of the house and play baseball. And we would play as if we were going to get paid for this. We wanted to win. That drive to win starts at a very early age. Mm-hmm. When you have small children, if you say, oh, everybody gets a trophy, No. You need to teach your kids that if they're going to run a race, they need to come in first, second, or third. They don't need to just come in with a pack. Okay. They want to distance themselves from the pack. So early on, my mom helped us understand that college was extremely important for her children. And she wanted to make sure that her girls especially understood that. So, I have 6 sisters. I have 5 sisters that grew up to adulthood, and one died at birth, but died very young. But my sisters, all of them have college degrees because my mom felt that women needed that edge. She just looked at how she was treated as a woman, and she said, if you have your education, you have your own money. That was her favorite word. You have your own money, your own bank account. Then you don't have to take stuff. You can
That's
leave
right.
when things aren't right. She felt that she had to stay there, and she saw women having to stay in situations, whether it was a job situation or a marital situation, that wasn't healthy for them because they could not afford to walk away. We have to set ourselves up in a way, whether that's professionally or with your own business, that if things aren't going the direction you want them to go, walk away. So I had a great foundation, Felice. My mom was just she was way beyond her time. She would say, look, when I started working for the Smucker Company and I started helping children, she always said, Carolyn, you can't just miss work because a child is sick at work. She said, when your children get sick, the company will use it as an excuse to not promote you. So my mom was my best village. If my kids were sick and, couldn't go to school, which was rare, mom would babysit. She would keep them. You didn't have to call her in advance. All you show up and say, Mom, I got to get to the office. I've got a meeting. And she said, hey, I got this. Don't worry about it. Having that network, we talk about how important networks is, right? We forget about how important that network is at home. It's not just important that it's out in your business community, that is in your professional community, but it's also important in your family community that you have an amazing network. So my early foundation, I had an amazing family, the family that understood that if we're going to do great things, the village starts with them. And I just really felt that I had a great, role model in my mom.
That's wonderful. So you have already dropped 2 jewels on us. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's why we're going to make this into a 2-part series because I can tell already that we're going to run out of time in this first episode. So this is episode 1 of 2. And you just dropped 2 jewels. Run the race as though you're running to win. We want gold, silver, or bronze.
That's right.
Right?
I don't want to be a team. I don't want to come in with the pack. That's right.
I don't want to come in with the pack, Miss Hardy. Thank
you. No. And Felice, if I don't win the trophy, don't give it to me.
Don't give it to me. I'm with you. And, that's biblical too, because even the Bible talks about run the race as though you're running to win. You have to beat your body and make it your slave. Yes. So it does what you want it to do instead of what it wants to do, because the body wants to sleep and rest and relax and eat, right? And do nothing, right? Yes. Yes. But you also said position yourself. So if things aren't going your way, you can walk away.
Right. That's right.
Golden. I do professional development training for students at various universities. And I always say you want to create opportunities for yourself so that you can do what you want to do instead of what you've got to do.
That is exact. And the same thing applies in business. If you're short on capital or you didn't position your business just right, what happens is that you end up making decisions for all the wrong reasons. You take on business that's not good business, and you don't want to do that. You take on business that can be caustic. You can take on an account, and that account causes you to go bankrupt. Only because you actually need the funding.
Yes.
Don't put yourself in a position. I was just talking to a young man he said, Miss Hart, he said, can you talk to me a little bit about being an entrepreneur? And I said, I gave him some advice on how to manage his money on a startup. A lot of times people they'll save money to get their business started. And then they say, well, I'm not going to borrow any money from the bank. And then all of a sudden they run out of money. Then they got to borrow money from the bank. Well, the bank loans money to people who have money. time to borrow money from the bank is when he had the money, not after he spent the money.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, so you got your money saved up for your business? He said, yep. I said, well, now it's time to go get a line of credit.
Yeah.
Get as big a line as you can. A lot of times we get confused. We go in and we ask for as little as possible because we don't want them to say no. Ask for as much as possible and let them pull back. So if you think you need $50,000, ask for $500,000. Let them pull back to $250,000. $250,000 a lot more than $50,000. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, you're just feeding my spirit, and I know we have an interview to do.
I know. Okay, so now your question. Okay, I'll stop.
Because I'm like, I'm just my spirit is being fed, everybody, and I'm sure yours is too, just a little bit. And we're just now getting out the gate, and this heart is already rolling. So you told us about your family background, but can you tell us, sort of, you didn't just show up at Coors Bottling Company, like you had these other roles before
Yes.
you went there,
Yes.
That gave you sort of a broader scope of knowledge and skills. Can you just briefly talk about that?
Well, let me step back. I started out as an accountant. So my education, I have a bachelor's degree in accounting. I'm a CPA. And so I was a plant controller for the Smucker Company. And I always wanted to run my own ship. And Smucker's had no blacks or no female plant managers. And so when I was with the Smucker Company, 20 years old, started very young, right out of college. And I saw that the guys who made the most money and who had the most fun were actually running the facility. Mm-hmm. And so I decided then and there for this that I needed to run that facility. So the plant manager asked me a question. He said, well, what do you want the next stage in your life? I said, I want your job. He almost fell out of his seat, okay? Because here is in the 80s, a black female walking into your office, and keep in mind, the company has no blacks in top professional positions, no black plant. Here's this black female, 20-some years old, saying that I want your job. I thought that's never going to happen. Fast forward, I think it was like 1988, I became plant manager of the Smucker Company.
So he said it's not going to happen.
Right. And his eyes, people don't have to say anything to you. They can look at you. I can look at you and tell that you're saying in your mind that ain't going to happen. Okay. I can look at your face and tell that you have rejected me. Okay.
Yes.
He had rejected me, but you know what? I didn't let him and his preconceived notion define my destiny. Yes. See, people give other people too much power over their end result. They give others too much power. My mom said the power is in me. The power is in me. The power is in you, not them. So when I saw that look in his face, I said to myself, come hell or high water, I am going to do this. When I became plant manager in 1988, it was groundbreaking. I went up against two other white males, and I was the most qualified to do the job. Because what happens, Felice, when a black woman takes on a role like that, that's a non-traditional role, you actually do the role in the second seat. So the black woman that was there before me, I actually did all of his work for at least 3 years. I got the job. I would make all the decisions. I would do his job and my job too. So when I became plant manager, the Smucker Company knew that I was qualified. They knew it all. They were not taking any risk on me because they seen me perform.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so so Smucker's prepared me because after becoming plant manager, when you're a plant manager, you actually run your own ship. You make all the decisions, whether it's people decisions, whether it's capital decisions, whether how you improve your plant, how you train your people. You make all those decisions. So I was running my own business within Smucker's. That got me ready. Then when I went to Coors,
let me push pause because I want everybody to get that.
Yes, ma'am.
When you run it like it's yours,
yes,
right?
Yes.
You care. You show up on time. You do 200%.
You do 200%.
Your work is spotless.
Your work
right?
is spotless. You develop your people.
You develop your people. You stay developing yourself because you can't help anybody else if you're not developed.
Oh, Felicia, I went to Smucker's offered all types of training. Here's another mistake we made. And you said, how did you get ready? Smuckers offered all kinds of training, tuition reimbursement dollars. And I don't know if you know, but there's a statistic out there. That statistic was published in 2020 that said that of the companies that offer tuition reimbursement, only 5% take advantage of that. 5%. Mm-hmm. When I was with Smuckers getting ready for my journey, I took advantage of. They paid for Becker for my CPA study course. They paid 100% for that. Mm-hmm. After I finished Becker and I became a CPA when I was 27, I decided I wanted my master's because I was told by a company, I was interviewing for Shear and Plow. I wanted to move out of Smuckers and go to a bigger organization. They said I couldn't get the job because I didn't have a master's. Now keep in mind, I'm a CPA and I passed the CPA exam, got a bachelor's, great experience at Smuckers. They said, we're not going to hire you because you don't have your master's. Mm-hmm. 3 years later, I show up, I have a master's degree.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So people that know me know I have a bachelor's, master's, and a law degree.
That's exactly.
Because if I don't get it, it's something funny.
But how do you get prepared to run your own business? While you're working for another company, go out and get the additional training that you need. I went out and when I got my master's, I learned more about insurance. I learned more about finance. Now I'm a CPA, but I need finance and being a CPA are not exactly the same thing. You understand it, but how do you finance your business? That's different. Mm-hmm. Accounting is about the past, finance is about the future. Mm-hmm. That's how the two, differentiate from each other.
Got to write that down too.
So I took all these extra courses when I was going after my MBA, so that when I got ready for my own business, I understood how to buy insurance, how to lease property, how to develop property. I understood the laws of the state, how to register my business. I understood all that. I was trained by Smuckers under their tuition reimbursement plan. See, a tuition reimbursement plan requires you to declare a major. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know because I've never gotten tuition reimbursement, but okay. Places I work they don't give it. But
I had to declare that I was going to get a master's in accounting, and the company has to feel that you're going to use that to their benefit. Okay, yes. But they don't say what courses you have to take as electives. Right. I took all the electives that benefit me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You have to learn how to take the opportunities and twist them to your benefit.
Okay. See, I'm just mesmerized, and we need to get back to the interview. Okay. All right. So now you show up at now you're the general manager at course, and you see that there are some issues.
Major.
And take us from there. You see there's some issues, but you feel like you can do something about it.
I walk into the job, and my first week on the job, I'm being challenged by employees. Number one, the beer world had never seen a female in my position. Never. Mm-hmm. Then to be a black female to walk in, and this was the toughest Teamster union probably in the whole United States. Mm-hmm. And again, remember I told you I read people's face? Mm-hmm. I'm looking at these people's face, and they're saying, we're going to have her for lunch. And so I somebody had the nerve to make a smart response. And I said, you know what? I said, my rule in life is that if you play with me, I get to play with you.
That's right.
Keep in mind, I'm from a large family. So games, I love games. So if they want to play games with me, I am a great gamer. Okay.
Yes. See, I have the same issue, and I'm sure our listeners do too. Miss Hardy, I show up and they get confused.
Yes, confused
by this hair, the curls, and the pink lipstick.
And
they think we're just gonna steamroll her.
That's right. That's right.
And I even had a male tell me, he said, well, you do walk in looking one way, but then when you open up your mouth, you're like breathing fire on people, and they don't know how to deal with that.
Well, Felice, and we did breathe fire. In our first 2 years, we cut costs. I'm a CPA, so I am an analyst. When I started with Coors at this facility managing, and I knew this facility potentially would be closed because the numbers didn't stack up the right way. And there are certain dynamics that causes the facility to be closed. And I saw those dynamics my first week on the job.
Give us a flavor. What dynamics?
Well, the type dynamics, if you're losing money because of waste, your quality is poor, your labor relations is so bad that people are doing things that penalizes the company. The people hate the company. They hate the leadership. All those things are really red flags for a plant being closed. And so the first thing I did was I needed to build honesty in our process. And I went to the people and I said, one of the things that you'll find about me that I'll never lie. I said, I will tell the truth even if it hurts. And I challenge you on something because I had managed a union facility before. I said, why don't you call the folks? Because this was in Memphis. I said, y'all know somebody that worked for the company I managed before. Call them and ask them if I ever lied. And I was with Smuckers for 20 years. I said, ask them in the whole 20 years they knew me, did I ever lie?
Yes.
I said, secondly, ask them if I say something, I'm going to do it. And I said, so if I tell you I'm going to fire half the people in this room, if I were you, I'd start trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my bills because you're fired. Okay.
Two more jewels. That was two more jewels.
Okay.
People, catch on. People, keep up. Integrity. Miss Hardy just talked about integrity. You can be a great gamer. Right. You can be good at what you do. You can play with the boys, right?
Yep.
But you don't have to do it without integrity. You don't have to lie your way through it. You don't have to fudge your numbers. You don't have to fudge the facts.
Right. And Felice,
you can do it with the lights on.
Sorry. People have to say that. No, people have to say that. I used to always say this, my integrity is not for sale. So regardless of what position I held and what company I worked for, my integrity was never for sale. And I try to tell people that, that they take on these roles in these companies and they forget that they sell their soul to the devil. And then all of a sudden they leave that company. They don't understand that they don't get the soul back. They sold it. It's gone forever. So you never sell your integrity. I try to make sure people understand that. And so the employees, after doing quite a few things, one, challenging me, trying to see if I was as truthful as I said I was, and I came up clean every time.
Yes.
Every time I came up clean. And when they were mistreated, I would tell them all the time, I said, you know what, guys, you could be my sister, brother, cousin, whatever. I said, I can't have people treating you like this. And I would challenge it. If my managers mistreated a person, I called them up on it. I didn't have a union versus management mindset. I had a people versus concern for my community mindset. Okay?
Yes.
And when you say you have that mindset, you model that through your actions.
Yes.
Not through just words, but through your actions. And so, I was with Coors for 5 years. The best story I tell, we announced we were closing the plant in February 2005. It was a very tough time. And for at least the next month, we had the worst quality we've ever experienced in my whole years being with the company. People's mind wasn't in the game. So I called the town hall.
Just showing up, pushing the button or not pushing the button.
And collecting the check. And not pushing the button, collecting the check and not paying attention to what they were doing. No attention to detail. So I called them a meeting. I had 600 employees. I had 400 employees at this point because we'd reduced the workforce from 600 to 400. And I said, guys, I said, tell you what we're going to do. I said, there's a trophy that Coors has that's called Environmental Health and Safety Award. I said, why don't we show Coors how amazing you are by winning this award? Felice, everybody laughed. They thought that was the funniest thing they ever heard. They said, no, we knew she was crazy and aggressive, but now she's really crazy. You have to win 15 metrics. You have to reduce waste. You have to improve training. You have to improve efficiency. You have to reduce utility consumption like water, electricity. So you have to do 15 different things to win. They said, Ms. Hardy, we couldn't win the last 10 years. What makes you think we're going to win this year? I said, if you win, I will take this trophy and put it in Leo Cali, give it back to him, and show him that he made a mistake. Okay. I said, at least go out on top. Don't go out on the bottom. Okay. Go out on the top. And so
that's another jewel, ladies and gentlemen.
Go out on top.
Go out on top. And we skipped the one earlier. The second one earlier was mean what you say.
That's exactly. But now go out on top. And when I say that, I didn't say leave a plant that's closing on top. Regardless of what you do, Felice, if you walk out of your marriage, go out on top.
Okay. What does that mean? What does on top mean?
What that means is that don't be petty. Don't be petty. Okay? Maintain your dignity. I hate to see people who lose their dignity. Don't lose who you
Mm.
are. Don't let
Mm.
them take your happiness away. You know your happy place. Felice, I see you smiling, laughing. You've got a happy place. Okay. I see people who've had a turn that's not just right and they lose their happy place.
Mm.
Okay. Don't lose your happy place.
Mm.
Don't let them take that from you. Okay.
Mm.
Go
Mm.
out on top. Go out smiling. You know how you say you walk in the room and people look at you and say, "Oh, look how good you look with your pink lipstick." And
Mm-hmm.
go out on top. Put that pink lipstick on. I had a young lady that worked for a major NBA team. We were having lunch. She asked me to
Mm-hmm.
have lunch with her. And she walked in, Felice, and I tell she had the weight of the world on her shoulder.
Mm.
She was very much down, depressed, and the job was really weighing her down. So she sat down, and I said, "You look like crap."
Mm-hmm.
She asked me for my honesty. She asked me
Yes.
what month would to give her honest feedback.
Mm.
I said, "You know what?" I said, "How do I look?" She said, "You look light and jovial and like you don't have a care in the world." I said, "I got 20 major things on my mind." I said, "But you'll never see me wearing it." I
Mm.
said, "If you really want to deal with the issues you're dealing with, you can't wear it like that."
Mm.
Okay. I said, "You do need to change jobs." She did. She needed to change her profession really bad. Okay. But I explained to her that she'll never get an opportunity at the level that she was trying to get at, looking and wearing the problems that she was wearing.
Mm.
I said, "You cannot wear these problems because people see you. It's all on the exterior." I said, "You got to figure out how to internally get that." I said, "First, you got to find a place for it." Okay. You know what I mean by that, Felice? A place for it?
I don't know. Help me, because I'm
Okay.
thinking maybe you need therapy. Maybe you need to.
No. What you
Okay.
do? You're your own best therapist now. I'm gonna start with that.
Okay.
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 When
Okay.
I say a place where when I have a bad day, I've got to figure out when I look at this badness, I got to figure out there's 20% or 80% goodness in that bad day. Honestly,
Mm.
there's 80% goodness. What did I learn from it? What opportunity did I seek? Okay.
Mm.
The issue she was facing that she was dealing, she needed to change job. She forgot to focus on all the things they did good for her for the prior years.
Mm.
Her time with that organization was up.
Mm.
She was wrestling with ghosts and demons that would not allow her to move on. So she needed to focus on the 80% that was right and say, you know what? It's okay that it's time to move on. It's okay. Accept it.
I feel like I'm talking to myself. I really do. Because I say this a lot. Two more jewels, everybody. Go out on top. And when we mean by that, Miss Hardy means don't be petty. Maintain your dignity. Don't go out here just doing stuff, right?
Right.
Causing trouble, trying to get back at people.
And don't let it affect your beauty, your natural beauty. Don't. Go
Oh,
out.
folks was eating Cheez-Its and Cheetos, Miss Hardy.
Yeah.
They're at the vending machine, putting on pounds because they're
Yes.
so stressed out.
I know. Instead of saying, okay, what's positive about it? Okay. And don't go out with your girlfriends talking about all this bad stuff. Go out with your girlfriend and say, oh gosh, I love your hair. I love your lipstick. Where'd you get that dress from? Talk about the things that really bring you joy.
Mm,
Okay.
yes.
Don't waddle in problems.
And problems. And you said, when your time is up,
No
people.
one time's up.
And
Yeah.
with that, we are going to end this episode, right?
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you were tuned in to another episode of Beauty Not Boundaries. I am your host, Felice. For this discussion, we were joined by Carolyn Hardy, who is a successful leader and entrepreneur and is here schooling us, dropping jewels all over the place. We can't even get through the interview because she keeps dropping jewels and I keep picking them up on, just keys to success and things we need to keep in mind and things that we should do. Be sure to follow us at Beauty Not Boundaries on Instagram. And this is episode 1 of 2. We're coming back with Miss Hardy next time. Thank you, Miss Hardy, for joining us.
Thank you.